What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Top 5 Scary Videos. Easter eggs are always a fun time. You see them in the Marvel Cinematic Universe quite a bit, and usually they're hinting at a future solo movie. Horror movies love to do this as well. I mean, some of your favorites have Easter eggs you probably missed your entire life. So, of course, here to count down 5 of those for you, I'm Taylor McWatters, and here are our top 5 horror movie Easter eggs that changed the movie. Let's do it. Kicking off the list at number 5, The Conjuring 2, a personal favorite. Shared universes between movie franchises is of course common. We saw it in most superhero films, but what about a shared horror universe? That's the question. Can it work? Well, James Wan has created this super successful Conjuring universe where we see paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren show up in different solo flicks like Annabelle or The Nun. And with The Conjuring 3 and The Crooked Man announced to be Warner Bros. Newest installments of the shared universe, it's only fair to look back at one of my favorite Easter eggs from The Conjuring 2. The film itself is pretty loaded plot-wise. It's actually a quite fun, fast-paced horror, with a few blink and you miss it Easter eggs. One of which is when the climax of the movie could have been completely resolved if Lorraine Warren had just looked to the left. In this scene.
I'm sorry, Lorraine.
So the climax of the movie is basically you have to say the demon's name. That gives you power over the entity. So in a last-minute attempt to save the day, Lorraine Warren finds this book. It was a Bible, and she realizes that she had actually scratched the name down on those pages of that Bible. But if you take a sneaky little look at the background there, you can see the demon's name, Valak, just casually, if not beautifully placed. I saw The Conjuring 2 in theaters alone because, you know, I'm a crazy person, I guess. And the first time I watched it, I saw this name on the shelf. They even show us the first letter, which is clearly a V, so I thought, V, what is she writing? And then I saw the name Valak on the shelf, and my first thought was, oh, maybe it's like a lost family member, maybe something personal that we'll find out later. No biggie. No, it was just a fun little Easter egg. Well, big Easter egg, rather. That's not the only time either where you can see Valak written out in front of you. It's seen in the background when Ed and Lorraine are talking at the table. And here. But I mean, this one here, come on. I mean, Easter eggs are always fun, but when the plot resolves around knowing that specific word to save the entire day and to conclude the film, makes it kind of weird that they didn't just figure this out earlier. Bonus points to James Wan for giving Patrick Wilson an old friend as well as an extra for his 2018 Aquaman flick. Nothing beats the friendly face of Annabelle showing up out of the blue. The deep blue, rather. And before we move on to number 4, if you haven't done so already, make sure to just give this video a like while you're here. It should be easy to do. It's just the thumb right there. It's this one, not this one. Unless you're upside down, then sure. And number 4, Saw. We get another treat from James Wan. This time he is joined by his famous other half, Leigh Whannell. The two worked on the Saw franchise together, and since their early work, the duo has been known to drop Easter eggs left, right, and center. But one of the most important Easter eggs from the Saw franchise comes from a flashback from the first installment, Saw 1, very first, OG. Before we know about the big reveal, that is John Kramer being the big bad reveal at the end, we see a flashback to him in a hospital bed. And he's not just laying there being sick, he's actually laying in bed with sets of drawings laid in front of him. His drawings of the reverse bear trap, like blueprints. And then on the other page, you can see a bright X. Now, of course, the reverse bear trap was seen in full force and can't be unseen, that is. Still the worst trap of them all, I don't care what anybody says. No way. I do literally anything else. The bright X, of course, hinting at the glow in the dark X in the wall of the bathroom where they're all being held. This is crazy. They could have literally looked down and I'm sure they would have solved the case and most likely saved a lot of people. Like if one of the detectives is like, oh, it's him, it's definitely him. Yeah, arrest this man when he wakes up, arrest him, absolutely. It would have been so easy. All they had to do was look down, that's it. There's tons of Easter eggs in the Saw franchise, of course, but this one from the classic first movie has to take the cake. I'm surprised nobody really caught it until afterwards, including myself. Also, let me know which Saw trap was your favorite / worst down below because I'm curious. I like to read the comments and see if I'm not the only crazy person. Number 3, The Thing, 1982. The John Carpenter classic starring Kurt Russell is a simple and beautifully executed horror film. The team, of course, begins getting hunted down in Antarctica by a shape-shifting alien that can imitate anything organic, dogs included. Now, at the end of the film, the only surviving members of the expedition are, of course, Kurt Russell's character, McCready, and Keith David's Childs. The ultimate question proposed at the end of the film is, who of the two is the Thing, if any of them? Now, with Childs not having any air, warm air coming out of his breath while he talks.
Won't last long, though.
Neither will we.
How will we make it?
A couple viewers could have picked up on the big clue before the credits rolled. In fact, it was actually at the beginning of the movie we got our biggest hint at how to solve this problem. See, before the dog ever reaches Outpost 31, we see the Norwegian weather research gang and they're chasing a dog. In fact, they're trying to shoot this dog. Like, I'm talking like Verdansk, but they're lining this thing up. They're really going for it. But because they're speaking in a different language, for a first-time viewer, this scene is just showing, I guess, the full effects of cabin fever, maybe, or something else going on. Now, if you saw this movie for the first time with a buddy who could speak Norwegian, there would be a few whispers going on at the beginning of the film. Because the line that's yelled by the Norwegian gunsman translate in English to, "Get the hell out of there, that's not a dog, it's some sort of thing. It's imitating a dog. It isn't real. Get away, you idiots." Like, imagine if you were watching this movie with your Norwegian buddy and then that scene happened. He would lean over like, oh, I think I have an idea of what's gonna happen right now. And number 2, Get Out. One of my favorite movies of all time and my favorite directors of all time. Get Out, of course directed by comedic and now horror master Jordan Peele, was released in 2017 and starred Daniel Kaluuya, Allison Williams, and Catherine Keener. The film was centered around the relationship of Chris Washington and Rose Armitage. We find Chris on his way to meet Rose's family, and when he gets there, they're kind of insane, just a little bit different than your classic family. Rose's mother, Missy, has this ability where she can make you quit smoking or, you know, quit life. She's good like that, with her hands and her tap 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 thing. The movie itself is foreshadowing and Easter eggs. I mean, Jordan Peele spent so much time and effort in every shot and every single line that even after a third viewing, I'm picking up more subtleties that I missed before. There's one Easter egg in particular that could have changed the entire second half of the movie. If Chris happened to just take Swahili classes on the side, I mean, he may have had a better fate. More than once you can hear the beautifully sinister melody composed by Michael Abels, titled Sikalizwa Kwa Wahenge. My apologies if I absolutely butchered that. I've tried to say it 3 times. My tongue doesn't work like that. The tune itself fits perfectly with the film because when you translate the lyrics, it says the line, "Brother, listen to the ancestors, run, you need to run far." Now, at this point in the movie, Chris has some feelings towards the family. He's picked up on some strange behavior. He's kind of got one foot in and out of the door at this point, relationship-wise, and with the whole trip in general. Now, if this song had played and the lyrics were understood, Chris would have maybe clicked, perhaps viewed it as a sign. Kind of like when you're thinking about somebody and then a song comes on the radio and you're like, this song hasn't played in 18 years. What the hell? I'm gonna call them right now. And then you call them and they're like, yeah, I'm fine. It's absolutely fine, don't worry. Like, Chris maybe would have had one of those moments where he's like, oh, these lyrics are weird. Makes me think about some other things, some other going-ons in this crazy house. And then maybe he would have left. I don't know. If you're a fan of Get Out, you have to check out Us, if you haven't done so already. Somebody asked me what movie I prefer, and I'm legit stuck. They're both so different, but they're both so good. Which of the two is your favorite? Let us know. And finally, number 1, Final Destination 2. When death has its sights on you, you're toast, brother. We've seen 5 movies now where death clearly can't be stopped, but what if a simple fridge note was the reason all the characters in a movie died in alternate ways, and maybe adjusted the plot? See, in Final Destination 2, we see Evan Lewis, this lucky, cocky lottery winner that died in a brutal car fire in Kimberly's early premonition. Now, of course, all of the players in Death's game dies in the same order as the premonition, but what if it skipped you? Well, according to the movies, if it skips you, Death would eventually make its way back around to get you. But that would be an entirely different movie and perhaps a more tense film. Like, what if Evan skipped Death? How could he even do so, you ask? Well, in the opening shot of his death sequence at the beginning of the movie in his apartment, you can see fridge magnets in the background. And the fridge magnets go from saying, "Hey E," I assume like "Hey Evan," and then the H falls and lands in his food. Now this is a fun little hint at how he'll die. And of course, Kimberly figures out that there's hints like this throughout the entire movie. So not only does the director want us to catch these hints, but it's kind of a big deal to the plot as well. So if Evan had just looked up and caught this pretty obvious Easter egg, that being a letter in his food, he would have avoided the fire. And the gross eye thing that happened to him with the ladder, gross, he would have cheated death. And if it had skipped Evan, he would of course been alive while the others were being stalked. And the idea that death moves in a specific order would have been dismissed. They wouldn't have even thought of that as an option. And if that happened, well, perhaps Kimberly wouldn't have drowned herself in order to change the path. Would have been an entirely different movie. The movie probably wouldn't have even happened. Would have been people just dying, and then Evan would have been like, "Yeah, I'm rich." And then some spaghetti would have shot into his eye or something again the next week, or something crazy. Well guys, there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. Which Easter egg did we miss from your favorites? Let us know down below so we can check those out. And before we wrap up here, of course, I have to read back a few comments from our last video, which was top 5 scary horror stories from North America. First comment comes from Sean Reeves. They say, "La Llorona sounds like the woman in white from Supernatural season 1, episode 1. That episode was so scary. I think that season of Supernatural was scarier than Bly Manor." I said it folks. Let's fight. Next one comes from Noel Snaggle. They say, "I have a ghost in my house, I call him Jeff. He likes to mess with the TV remote and randomly pause it and turn the TV off. He also likes to throw styrofoam off the table. I still don't know its name, so I call it Jeff because they seem to respond to it." I mean, specifically styrofoam, that's kind of a weird thing. I mean, if it's only styrofoam, if Jeff only likes hucking styrofoam, I have an easy fix for you, Noel Snaggle. What a specific ghost, I love it. Hey, good luck with Jeff. Just get rid of all the styrofoam and then Jeff will be like, and then float away. I don't know what Jeff does. Last one comes from Faroukian. They say, "Ah, how I love this channel and its content. Heart, keep it up, y'all." You and me both, thank you so much for watching. Guys, that's all the time we have left. If you don't want to miss any more videos in the future, turn on your notifications. Then we can even chat in the comments when we do our live premiere videos. I'm Taylor McWatters, bye.